Do you use the dedicated EQ block when making your Line 6 Pod Go presets? Do you avoid it, or do you just stick to whatever the default setting is and just let it fly? Let's look at the 7 different types of EQ in somewhat in depth. I'll give you a walkthrough of each one, and I'll do my best to explain what each one does. But that is an important tool. I mean, you're stuck with the EQ block. Instead of turning it off, turn it on and learn to shape your tone. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I've just created a simple preset, I think a Marshall Plexi style with a reverb. And here's the sound. So it's fairly dry. It has a room reverb, so nothing heavy. Okay, so now let's strictly look at the EQ here. So we're going to start with the first one is simple EQ. Now simple EQ, now this is a good one for beginners. So what I would do here is you have low gain, you have a mid gain and a high gain, but you can pick the mid frequency. So this is basically, you know, you want to adjust the low. Let's drag it up. Okay, so that's a good, just an overall low shaving tool. Now mid, this defaults to 600. Now I like to punch it up around 500 or so. When we get to about 700 to about 900 hertz, and that's what I'm talking about, the HZ. Let's say I want to punch it up. Let's take it down. Let's take it down to here, 555, okay? And then I'm going to up the gain on it so that it punches more. Put it back to 0. And then let's punch it up. Okay, so maybe you don't want it that punchy, but anyways, that's what that's going to do. Or let's put it up to let's put it up the frequency here. Sorry guys, it's hard to click with the pick. All right, you know, I'm going to put up a little more here, so not that high. I'm going to put it up to about 775, and I want to drop the gain. So let's put it here. And I want to drop it because I find around that. See, I like that. I thought it sounds a little smoother to me because I find around between 700 to 850 hertz or so, it kind of gets squawky or like honky like a goose or something, you know. So I like to drop that. But depending on how you've dialed your amp in your cabinet, maybe you want to, like I said, you want to punch up a mid frequency, and you know, you can pick here. It'll show you here, your whatever. Use your ears, okay? So and then high gain, of course, is you're going to increase your highs. So let's play. See, I upped it a bit there, higher. Okay, so that's a nice. I think that's a nice, easy one for beginners. And I think there's even another one that's even better for complete beginners who are new to building presets on this Pod Go. But that's a nice one if you don't want too many sliders to play with. The next one, low and high cut. Now, I think this is basically going to be probably the simplest one to understand because this is basically, you're just shaving off the low sound and the high sound. So here it is, default, everything's off. Let's low cut it. Okay, we don't want that. So I'm going to hold the chord. So you hear how it changed? So you're just shaving off like anything that's below 120 hertz in this instance. So I like that. Now the high. I don't find this very bright to begin with, but like once you get down to about 10, and that's 10,000, I guess, or 10 kilohertz, sorry, that's when I start to notice. But like if I put it, sorry guys, if I put it to 13, I don't notice too much of a difference between 19 or 13. But anyways, you could start with this one, just to dial in your preset, and this is what I recommend for absolute beginners. Try this because this is easy. You're just shaving off how dark it sounds or how bright it sounds. You're adjusting that. I don't think it can get much simpler than that. So start with that and then learn the other EQs, venture out. Okay, so that's what that does. The next one, low high shelf. So my understanding is this is kind of like boosting, the frequency. So the low gain. So again, this is kind of like how we did with that simple EQ where you get to choose your frequency. So let's say 300. Okay, I'm going to dial it down to like say 230. So this is a lower dare I say a bass frequency or a very seriously low mid. Oops, turn that on. Now if I want to boost that, I'm going to up it here. Right? So that pops it a bit, but I don't want too much bass. Maybe I want to lower it. So that sounds pretty good to me. And so it's kind of I guess an attenuator of some sort. I keep clicking on that menu. Now the high gain, same principle here. So let's say, I don't know. Let's put it at 6 kilohertz. And now let's say I want more sizzle. I want more high end. So let's up that. I don't know. See, personally, I'm sure this is useful for me. Probably not one I would use too often. Like if I just wanted to, to shave off highs or lows, I would go to the low and high cut one, the one we just did before. Okay, parametric. I did do a video of this, I think, a couple of years ago, specifically on parametric EQ. Yeah. Now this is this is the one where if you're a beginner, you'll be looking at this and going, "Oh my God," and I still go, "Oh my God." But this is basically you're honing in on frequencies. I'm going to put the pick down and let's get at it here. So let's get into it here. So like the low frequency, low Q, low gain. Okay. So I didn't want my mouse ran away on me there. So basically what this is for low, mid, and high, you're going to pick a frequency. Now this is I find this parametric EQ is for really zeroing in on certain frequencies that like this is I think this EQ is definitely for the experts out there who really know about EQ and engineering and this kind of thing, right? Like I'm learning still, but I kind of have an idea of what this does. So basically we're picking a frequency. So let's say I want to pick the 110. And now the low Q. So the Q, it's like a curve, okay? So if I'm at 110 here, the lower the number on the parameter, the broader the curve, okay? So you're not just hitting the 110, you're going to hit all the frequencies around it. Now, if I increase the Q, let's say I put it to 5.8. So now I'm making it more like this. Okay, so I'm more focusing in on that 110. And that goes the same for the mid or the high. So basically you're picking frequencies and you're going to decide like how much notching or honing in on that frequency that you want. Okay? So let's play around with it. So here all right, I'm going to pick the mid. So let's say the mid, I really want to bump up around the 500, right? Like get that mid punch. So I'm going to put it at 545 and I'm going to up my mid Q because I don't want too much around there. Let's say I want to put it up to maybe about 4. Okay. And then the mid gain. Now, what I'm doing is I've selected my frequency. I've narrowed the frequency, like the curve. So it's not, so anything like it's too, you're not hitting anything too far away from this frequency. That's not going to be effective. That's why you're narrowing the curve. And now I want to increase the gain on it because I want that to pop. And if I wanted less of it, I would lower it. Okay, so let's go. Okay, now high. I'm going to put my pick in my mouth this time. High frequency. So let's say I'm gonna pick 6.3, and I really want this one to shine. So let's say I'm gonna put the curve up really high, and I'm gonna up this a bit, the gain on it. And then here you got your low cut and high cut. So it's a very powerful EQ. if you really, I would use this if you really know the frequencies that you're looking for that are causing you problems or that you want to accentuate. Okay. But even myself, I've used it before for presets and I will use it again, but I don't find I like to I like to paint with broader strokes, for lack of a better term. So let's go to tilt. Now, tilt, I think is kind of like a filter thing. I'm not very familiar with it, but you can darken or brighten it, but I don't think it colors your sound too much. I believe that's what the thing is. And then you're picking your frequency again here. So let's say I want to put it somewhere, let's say here, 2.4. Now let's say I want, my mouse, sorry guys, running away. I want to darken it. So it's kind of like you're honing in around, I guess, a certain frequency and not necessarily coloring your tone so much, but you're either brightening or darkening that frequency. So kind of, I guess that's kind of neat too. I don't know if I would use that too often myself. And then let's get to the last two. Now we have the 10-band graphic EQ. Now this one, I don't want to say you're stuck, but you have these set frequencies. So you could still do some fine tuning here and some good tweaking. I use this 10-band graphic EQ the most lately for the last year or so. It just seems to have everything that I like and need. So again, let's say I want to cut the bass and brighten this a little bit and give it a little mid punch. Okay, so this is where you can play with stuff. I'm going to cut the bass a bit here, 125, but I want a little boom. I'm going to up it here. Definitely 500. I want to punch. 1K is where it's kind of close to the 700 to 900 range. I'm going to down that a bit, and then I'm going to up these guys. The 8 kilohertz and 16 kilohertz. I'm not going to touch the 16, but let's hear how this sounds. All right, so yeah, it's a graphic EQ. So basically, you're sliding these set frequencies up and down until you reach your desired tone. Okay, and let's go to the last one, Cali Q graphics. So same idea, but you only have 6 frequencies that you're playing with. So this is a great one too. I like this one. So let me up this. Now this is where you see are at 750. So I would take this down. I would up this a bit. These ones. Let's hear this. So again, you can do some tone shaping with that. Not as many as the 10-band graphic EQ, meaning not as many frequencies or choices, but they are good. So again, maybe I don't want to say this is more for an advanced user, but it's definitely the tweaking options aren't as plentiful as, say, or as specific as they say a parametric. The parametric EQ, I would say, is really at the top for when you really want to hone in and be specific on certain frequencies. The 10-band graphic EQs, I'd say use those if you kind of have some certain frequencies that you are looking to change, but you kind of it's more in a ballpark area. Then let's go back to the tilt, probably my least favorite, but that's, again, you can pick a certain frequency and brighten it or darken it if you know the specific frequency that's maybe causing you issues. So maybe that might be maybe more for advanced use. High shelf, low shelf, again, nothing I would really use there too much, but I mean, you can boost your highs and lows, and then definitely the first two are possibly I don't want to say the best, but definitely the easiest, and maybe just what you really need. Like if you dial in your preset and have this EQ block off, right? So then if you get something that you're pleased with, but it's just not quite right, well, then what is not right? And then this EQ block will help you solve it. And it might not be the end. Maybe you're going to use this EQ block. You move the block and put it against, I'm going to put it against the drive here or after these drives, because it's the drive tones that I want to EQ and not necessarily the amp. So you can do that. But yeah, definitely going through this low high cut. I think this is genius. I think this is brilliant. This is nice and simple. Just slide it until your ear is pleased, and then you're not even worried about numbers per se, And simple EQ, again, I think this is a great one too, because you can just change some of the overall low, change some of the overall high, and then you can really get funky here with the mid frequencies. I mean, you can go from 125 hertz all the way up to 4 kilohertz, 4,000 kilohertz. This is great. Like this is pretty much what I would recommend for anyone starting to really help shape your tone. And I might start using it too, because I've been using the 10-band graphic a lot, and I really focus in on the middle stuff. This might even be simpler to use. So anyways, I hope that this walkthrough of EQs has been helpful and has kind of opened your mind to using the EQ to your advantage. I mean, the block isn't going anywhere. You want to put in a jailbreak preset file, that's up to you. I don't like doing that. It's nothing wrong with it. I just, this is what we got with the PodGo. Why not use it? I mean, who's to say jailbreaks or, that jailbreak preset is better than something that, Line 6 has created for us with these 10 user blocks and something, like that's just my thinking. And plus it's easier for when I'm making presets for free for you guys. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to gamble on a JSON file, a jailbroken one, or you don't have to get a third-party IR for the cabinet. We're just using what came with our amazing tool. But yeah, definitely check out the EQ block in more detail. Use it to your advantage. And like I said, you don't just have to use it for, your amp. You can put it completely at the end of your chain to overall EQ it too. Maybe that's what you want to do, but place it around in different spots. Like I've done presets where I liked what I dialed in with the amp and cabinet and the reverb and delay. And it's like, it's just the drives. I wish I had a little more of whatever. I use the EQ block there. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. In the meantime, check this one out.